Hello and welcome to another video. Today's topic is potentially going to get my emo slash scene card taken away or whatever. But here it goes. Here are some bands that I've never really been able to get into or just don't like. So let's get into it. Asking Alexandria has a bit of a story behind it, or behind why I don't like them. Back in 2012, 2013, I hadn't really heard of them. I had just kind of started getting into this kind of music. And they were headlining a show with August Burns Red, Crown the Empire, and We Came as Romans. And, I mean, me and my buddy got a vocal lesson with Dave from Crown the Empire when he was still with them. And that was pretty cool. And the show was a lot of fun. August Burns Red was really cool. They were a little heavy for me at the time, but they were pretty fun. But then Asking Alexandria got on, and Danny stumbled on stage with a beer in his hands and slurred a few words, and then we left. I heard later that he was like spitting on the crowd and throwing shit at them and stuff, and I don't know. I'm glad we left. It just left such a sour taste in my mouth throughout the years that I've never been able to get into them. Even listening back to them now with some of their newer and older stuff, I'm just not into them. Attack I listened to for the first time in 2012 when my friend showed me all the Pop Goes Punk albums. So their cover of I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry was the first impression. And it was not a good one. That is a terrible cover. But I was looking for new bands to listen to at the time. So I checked out their normal stuff and I still wasn't into it. I don't really like the crabcore, that kind of stuff, and I hated the processed vocals in the early stuff. And listening back, I don't really mind a couple songs off of their 2012 album, but that's because it sounds a lot closer to Beartooth, which, let's be honest, is a lot better than Attack Attack. Black Veil Brides, I have a couple decent songs that I was into, but I think a big part of why I'm not into them is their fan base. Black Veil Brides is the kind of band that has the attractive members and the crazy look and the relatable lyrics that, connect with, teenage girls. Which, I mean, is fine for them. They've found success doing that. But when you're at an all ages show, and they're not headlining, you see their fans flood in, and then a quarter of them leave between Black Veil Brides and the headliner. That happened when I saw Bullet for My Valentine and they opened for them. Yeah, like a quarter of... They put on a great show. They hyped up Bullet for My Valentine, and a bunch of their fans still left. I don't know, it just kind of annoyed me. It's definitely more of a case of a fandom ruining something for me more than the actual thing itself. Kind of like Star Wars or Rick and Morty. I See Stars is one of those bands that mixed a lot of electronic and metalcore, and maybe it's because I was always more into the pop punk side of it, especially around 2012. I always thought it was cringy and bad. And while electronic sounds and metalcore, I like a lot of it now, listening back to them, their style of electronics and the way they mixed it is still cringy as hell to me. And I honestly just don't understand the hype behind this band. My Chemical Romance is one of those bands that hits most of the things that I like in a band like that. Especially when they were big, I listened to a lot of bands in similar veins, like Blink-182 and Simple Plan and All Time Low, Sum 41. Like, I listened to a bunch of those old pop punk bands and stuff, and I always kind of saw the appeal. They just never really grasped me, you know? They never really caught me. Famous Last Words I always really liked, and I still think that's a great song. And I mean, Teenagers, I mean, it's kind of a funny song it's kind of fun to just jam out to. Uh, but the rest of their songs, I don't know, they just don't hit me right, I guess. I do like Welcome to the Back Parade a little bit more than I used to, listening back for this video, but not that much. Still not. I still don't really like that song very much. Here we have it. There's a few bands that I've never been able to get into and still don't really like. But these are just my opinions. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments or over on Twitter at ahump101. Leave a like if you liked it. Dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you want more, and I'll see you next time.